Hey, and welcome to this episode of the Whole Health with Rob Carney podcast. And on this episode, we have our guest, Noelle Monteiro. So, before we get into Noelle, I would love and appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel here, subscribe to the podcast, because as you noticed, if you've been listening to previous episodes, we have so many incredible guests that share great stories, great wisdom, and just share a lot of love and light with the world. So, I'd love for you to take a moment to just click that subscribe button so you can see all the stories that all these people have to share. And so Noelle Monteiro. Noelle is a registered kinesiologist from Woodstock, Ontario, and she views and treats the body using a holistic approach. So she's been into health in the fitness industry, either as an athlete, student, or coach for the last 14 years, and has no intentions of stopping. So Noelle started her career as a competitive swimmer, swimming at the Ontario level, and continued to compete in high school triathlons from the age of 14 to 25. So she's currently training for her first off-road triathlon scheduled for next year in the mountains of British Columbia. Her goals, passions, and dreams are centered around making the world a more happy and peaceful place for both herself and her family. So one project she's currently working on includes Adventure and Wellness Excursions around the globe. So Noelle and I have a great conversation. She shares her story. She shares a lot of wisdom and a lot of things that we can be doing during these times of uncertainty and these times of isolation. So I know you're going to love this episode. Sit back, relax, and here we go. Well, everyone, welcome to this episode of the Whole Health with Rob Carney podcast with our guest, Noelle Monteiro. Noelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And you got the last name perfect.
I just got my practice now, so I'm glad I nailed that one.
It's like
So,
on with an M.
those
Monteiro.
are- So, Noelle, we first met at the Czech Institute about 13 months ago, 14 months ago. It was crazy how long ago that was. So, obviously, you've been at this whole health thing for a while, for about 15 years. You did your first triathlon 15 years ago, and you're still young. You're 29. So, for anyone hearing that, she did her first triathlon when she was 14. So, there's some wealth of knowledge going on here, some wealth of experience. So if you'd like to share your story, how you got into health, how it all started, and how you got to where you are today, I'd love to hear it.
Sure. So I grew up, I am basically born and raised Portuguese. My family's from Portugal. And so I grew up with like 15 cousins constantly around me, 4 aunts, 2 grandmas, like uncles everywhere. I had a lot of family, a lot of support growing up, a lot of cousins. We all lived on our own farms, so we had to bike from farm to farm to go see each other. And of course, I did that every day. I lived the furthest, so I'd have to bike the furthest, but it didn't matter because I was going to go see my cousins. And so that happened like my entire life, basically. Like we just, one cousin would lead the other five, whoever would keep up, basically. And we just kind of did that all the way as kids growing up. And I just never stopped biking and running and swimming. So we used to go to Turkey Point in Ontario all the time and swim as kids and fight the waves and all that stuff and just have fun. There'd be like 10 of us on the beach. So obviously we would take up the whole beach and just dig holes and build sandcastles and bury ourselves. And so that was always a lot of fun. And I did triathlons mostly as a way to lose weight. So in grade 8, when you're Portuguese and you're grade 8, you're kind of hairy. You have braces. That was me. And so I wasn't super popular in grade 8. Made fun of a lot, like all my cousins. And you just kind of stay strong and you make it through and you stick together. And so we did that as kids and all through high school. So I competed in triathlons from 14 until 24 competitively and for Ontario. And it was fun. It won a lot of races and got to see a lot of Ontario. But my friend at the time, she decided to train for a bodybuilding show. And I thought, that's cool. I'm in university. I was in university for kinesiology. I was studying with Stuart McGill and a bunch of other great professors. And I thought, sure, why not? Let's train for a bodybuilding show. So I decided in second year of university to do a show with my friend. So we did the show in Chicago for UFE and I placed first. And I was supposed to go to finals, but unfortunately I developed a little bit of an eating disorder from that show. So I decided to quit and I will never go back to bodybuilding. So it was a good show. I learned a lot about health. That's what sort of sparked the periodization. Plus I was in school for kinesiology, so it all kind of went hand in hand. And I was studying with Stuart McGill at the time in his course, in his lab. So, you know, he was giving me a lot of tips on how to lift heavy and how to stay strong and how to build a strong back. And so I was working really closely with him and a lot of friends that were in kinesiology too. So, you know, I won the show and I technically trained for myself because I didn't have a quote unquote coach I paid for, but I had a lot of support. My friend was there, my school was there, my friends were there, my parents supported me ever since I was a kid. I used to work in the barn and save up money so I could buy races. And my parents would come because I had to put on their credit card. Like, another race? You already did 5 this year. Well, I want to do another one.
I guess there's worse things you could be spending at that age, right?
Well, I worked really hard in the barns. We all had to as kids, or the stores. And so I always had money. And it's not like I was always very smart about my money. So I would save it and buy races, see how many races I could buy that summer. And then when I turned 16, oh my gosh, the floodgates opened because then I could go all across Canada. So that was fun. So 16 to 24 was a really good time in triathlon, but I kind of quit at 24 and now I'm in the age category 25 to 30. So I'm going to compete again. I don't know. I'm going to do probably an off-road race in BC in October or November, but I don't know if they're going to race this year or next year. So we'll see how COVID works, but that's my goal, is to kind of take all this experience and education and build my studio as a Czech practitioner, lifestyle coach, and then as a triathlon coach too.
Wonderful. So I want to hear more about, obviously, the Czech Institute is a place that we both studied as well. So what does your practice look like today with your coaching? How do you coach people? Because obviously you have a few different areas that you pull from. You can go from the kinesiology, the bodybuilding, the triathlon experience, the Czech Institute. What does your training philosophy look like, and how do you approach that with your clients?
It took me a long time. I would say it took me like 10 years to get to where I am today. So I used to train myself for triathlon through trial and error. You know, you train really hard one day, you can't walk the next day. Okay, don't go so far next time. Or do, just be smarter about it. So a lot of it is trial and error, especially with weight training. My mom's been teaching classes at Good Life here. She's been teaching body pumps since I was in the womb. So I was doing classes in the womb on stage with my mom. And so she's been doing that for like 35 years now. So, I mean, it's kind of in my blood, I guess, to be active and do fitness and all that, which is awesome because it just means be healthy. So I have a healthy family and my job is to teach people how to be healthy.
Awesome. How to eat, move, and be healthy, right?
Pretty much. It's pretty simple if you devote yourself to being healthy.
Awesome. So during this whole period, obviously with the uncertainty going on, how have you been approaching this time where obviously, as you said, races may not be happening, competitions, not that you're not doing some of those competitions much anymore, but how are you approaching your way of being, your way of coaching, your way of working with clients? Because I'm sure that you have clients that may want to have some of those goals as well. So what have you been spending your time on during this period of uncertainty?
That's a good question. I like how you said spending your time on. So I had to close my studio March 15th-ish. And so I closed everyone, you know, no one was allowed to come in for I at least a month because I have some pretty at-risk patients. So, you know, they go to the hospitals and stuff all the time. So I had to close down officially for at least a month. Plus my association, the Ontario Kinesiology Association and the College of Kinesiologists of Ontario highly recommended that we close. So I had to follow the regulations. So it was just, I spent the time. So I opened up my business in this house in September. And so I've just been kind of head down being a coach from September until March. So it was, for me, it was a breath of fresh air. It was like, okay, COVID, great. I can close the studio. I can work on the finances. I can work on the business plan. I can do the things I was supposed to be doing this whole time that I haven't given myself the time to do. So basically a lot of catch up, a lot of organizing, and then which has led to planning for the next year. So basically just kind of, my year starts June 1st. So I celebrate New Year's June 1st. And so May 31st was like the end of 2019 for me. So June, like, Happy New Year. And So new year means new business for me. So I just kind of relaunched my business here in Woodstock completely online. So everything is online because of COVID. So I'm legally allowed to work right now because I'm a regulated health professional. However, personal trainers are not allowed to work in Ontario or Canada right yet because gyms are not open yet. So because of that, there's been a huge influx of people coming my way, which is a good thing, but they don't always understand the Czech way because I'm not just a gym.
Yes.
So I've had to, turn a lot of people away, and a lot of people don't enjoy being turned away, which I'm sure you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been challenging. It's been super challenging with this relaunch, dump trucks everywhere and stuff. So, I'm definitely getting the challenges on the hero's journey. Like I'm definitely on a hero's journey and I totally recognize it. And I just, it's like obstacle. It's just keeping that light center of my head. So I just, just keep moving forward, even if it's like little tiptoe crawling, we're still going forward 1% each day.
I love it. And it's something that I've been talking about with some of my friends who are also Czech practitioners. And the way we've kind of described this period is like, one, it's a time for reflection and an evaluation to look at areas of ourselves and business that may be lagging. But it's also a time that just to chip away at things. And as you said, just a little bit every day, 1% every day, 1% every day. And that's what's going to really add up. Because I think that it's, to me, not the best time to be going for major accomplishments, because there's so much going on right now that this is the time to take inventory and really focus on what matters. And that's been a question I've been asking myself, like, what do I really want to be doing? Like, obviously I have the general idea, I want to help people and I help the planet. That's my general picture of what I want to accomplish. But then I'm asking, like, underneath that umbrella, like, what do I really want to be doing? And that's been an interesting question, because some of the things that I thought I wanted to do, now that this has taken a step back, it's like, wow, maybe I don't actually want to do that. So as you said, it actually has really been a breath of fresh air. And I'm grateful that I'm in a position to be healthy and strong and stable, that I can appreciate this time. So for someone, let's say, who is going through a period right now who this is not as easy, they're having health issues, what can they do where they're told they can't go to a gym, they can't see a personal trainer, they can't see a health professional? What can they do in their daily life to get back to optimal health?
The number one thing people need to do right now is go sit in the sun.
Yes. I
Go
love
get
it.
hot, go get sweaty, and just go sit in some grass and sit, because COVID is like a virus, and viruses like wet things and dry things. So if you keep a nice balance between wet and dry, i.e. dark and light, sleeping, get enough sleep, but sit outside too, make sure you get some real sun, not just TV. Honestly, that can, in my opinion and experience, that can just totally reset your DNA. Just sit in the sun every day, 5 minutes. I've been personally staring, not with my eyes closed, but looking at the sun in the morning, the sunrise, just that first 2 hours, just like eyes closed, just completely enjoying the sun coming up. That's been super therapeutic. So that would be the number one thing. Go outside, go for a walk, crawl, sit. If you're in a wheelchair, get someone to push you outside and have a seat outside. It's, my neighbor, she has a diabetic foot, and so she's missing some toes. And so I go there and she just opens her window and I just sit on her porch with her and we just stare out the window. But that, to her, that's social connection. So I believe everyone just needs social connection. And if you can't get it from a human, you can get it from the sun. The sun's always feeding you nice light rays. So that's my advice.
I love that. And I can definitely say, just based on the fact that living in New England, I would imagine it's similar in Canada. We don't get a lot of warm sunshine days year round. So when the sun is here, we really need to take advantage of that and really utilize the power that the sun can give us. Because even today, I think I was telling you before we started this podcast, I've been on like an 8 o'clock wake up schedule, which 7:45, 8, which is later than I prefer. And today I woke up at 5 and I went out to the sunrise and I felt amazing. But then now, before this, this was 1 o'clock, like hours after I woke up, and I was like, oh, I'm getting a little tired. I went out and just laid in the sun before we started this and felt so much better. Just let my whole body, shirt off, everything, just like let the sun take me on. And I felt so much better. And again, now I feel energized. I feel ready to go. And sometimes that's all we need. It's just that connection, whether that's connection to the earth, to the sun, to people. We just need to have that connection. And one thing that I think is really challenging with this whole period is, as you said, the lack of connection. So what are your thoughts in terms of coming back to things people can do? Like you mentioned going in the sun, you said walking. What else do you do to stay sane and healthy and happy during a time like this?
You really want to know what we're doing?
I do.
So we're having a real life Canada amazing race on July 4th here in Woodstock, Ontario.
Wow.
My organizing it, the Monteiros. So only Monteiros are allowed to play. There's 11 families playing, and it's the first one to grandma's house wins. So every house, there's 11 houses. So all my cousins and my aunts and stuff, so we're all going to set up a game in the backyard and a snack. So the families are on a schedule. So you got to go to each 11 houses between 3 counties and do all the, games and collect your points and the clues and do all that as teams, 11 teams. And we have groups of babies, children, singles, because there's a lot of singles in my family. And then, married people, those boring people. The couples, the kid, they're not boring. They're different. They're grounded. The singles like to go out and do crazy stuff. So that's what, honestly, just play games. Go and have fun. Go play games with your friends and your family. So my client and I last night invented tennis golf. I have this dog toy with a tennis ball on it, and he's a baseball player. But I'm afraid of baseballs. I like tennis balls. So, we went to the park, and we tossed the ball back and forth for like 20 minutes. And it was awesome. Barefoot, sun, grass, running around like kids. And we just made up tennis golf. We're like, this is so fun. Let's do this every Tuesday. Whatever day was yesterday, COVID. So honestly, I would just get out in the sun, grab a friend. If you don't have a friend, then do this. Book a Zoom call. They're free, or FaceTime, and take your friend and go for a walk. That's what I found, because I went through a big period of depression from September to March when my grandma passed away in Portugal. So for me, it's been a lot of digging in deep and really understanding what makes me happy and healthy, and what do I want to accomplish in life. Because they work so hard for us to be here in Canada, so I want to honor that. And so for me, it's just, let's tear down the walls of social connection, both of your own and, everyone has walls up right now because everyone's a little bit scared and, at what's happening. So everyone's a little bit scared. Everyone's living in sex and violence, zone 1 right now, which is kind of sad. But as we heal, we'll come up into empathetic and compassionate loving, zone 2. And then eventually we'll, keep rising 3, 4, and until the earth is healed again.
Beautifully said. I love that. And so with that being said, on the topic of depression you touched on, I know that a lot of people are experiencing challenges like depression, anxiety during a time like this. So as someone who has healed from a state of depression, what do you recommend people do? Obviously, getting outside, walking, all the things you said, having fun and playing, but that can be a tough mental rut for people to get into, or get out of rather. So what have you found that's been very effective for you, and for anyone who's experiencing that? What can they do right now to help move that ball towards one of positivity and one of happiness?
Get up and move. So my mentors, Renee Brown, Tony Robbins, they all have that 5-second rule: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So when I'm feeling anxious, I get pretty anxious when I drive because I've been in a lot of accidents. And so what I'll do if I have someone following me, or when I'm driving, is I'll do this. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just do it on my fingertips because those are connected to the meridians. And then I do it on my right hand, and then I do the same thing on my left hand. So I just go to each finger, and I count to 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slow, but that seems to kind of get me out. And then I just move, just go. So even if it's you're at your desk and you're stressed because you just got a really nasty text from someone, it's okay, 1, 2, 3, do the finger thing, and then get up and go to the washroom. Because as soon as you move your body, you're letting that energy flow. It goes, from my experience, it's energy, thoughts, emotions, actions. So let's start at the top. Let's, feel our energy, address the thoughts and emotions, and then move. Get it out, work out. Work in, work out.
I love it. And while we're on the topic of working, when we chatted a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, however long it was, you mentioned that you've been doing Tai Chi consistently for a very, very long time. And I was very impressed with how long you've been consistently doing this. So on the topic of working in, I want to hear your perspective of Tai Chi, because that is, I think, the working inside is a part of movement that people tend to forget about. People tend to be so focused on the yang activities, the doing, the exercise. So why is Tai Chi important to you, and why have you held a consistent practice for, was it 2 years?
I learned how to do Tai Chi when I was 14, and I haven't stopped.
That's crazy.
So my coach at the time, Jess, taught me how to do slow walking, so that when because I would get tired in my triathlons, she's like, okay, when you get tired, do this slow walking thing, which is stork walking. So I've been Tai Chi since, I don't know, when was I born? Just joking. However, but a solid, like, I went to HLC2 in 2016, I think, in New York. And I walked into that class knowing I was going to do Tai Chi with the ruler for 100 days. Like, I knew, like, I didn't have my own ruler. So I walked in and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a ruler. Walked in, I had my pen. I got Penny to sign it. Paul signed it. No, not Paul. Angie signed it. Penny and Angie signed it. And I was like, yeah, I'm so cool. So then, we all did Tai Chi that day. And that was my first gong, I guess. So I did 700 days with that ruler. And I just gave it to my partner. And I just started a new ruler. So I just started that. Well, I'm restarting today. So Tai Chi is literally just slow moving. Move with your breath. Connect with your breath. Connect with the earth. Connect with the energy. And then the cherry on top is can you, first of all, sense the energy coming from the earth? 1. And then 2, can you move it? And then 3, can you move it within yourself? So it's like 1, 2, 3, the 3 levels. So, what Paul taught me is, like, and Angie, they said, just do 100 days of something. So whether it's sitting down on the couch and closing your eyes and taking 10 breaths for 5 minutes, or if it's doing Tai Chi for 20 minutes, or if it's laying on the grass on your back outside in the sun, that's Tai Chi. Because remember, the body is energy, and energy is light, and light doesn't stop. So technically you look solid, but you're not really solid. You're a bunch of molecules that just don't stop moving. So you're always moving. You're always doing Tai Chi. It's just, are you consciously doing Tai Chi, or are you subconsciously? Are you a star, or are you the sun? That's the question. Or are you the moon?
Or all 30. I like it. And so I want to shift gears a little bit and just ask some questions that I've been thinking of lately. I'd like to hear your perspective. Because during this time, as we're talking about reflection and going inward, asking ourselves questions, one of my questions is, what am I most afraid of, and what am I resisting? So you can I'd like to hear your answer to either one or both of those questions, just because I feel like it's a time that people are resisting change. They're within themselves and externally. And I found that there were some things that I was resisting, some things I was afraid of. And so I'd love to hear either those questions or any of the questions you've been asking yourself during this time to really get more clarity of what you want to do and what you enjoy doing and what brings you joy.
Awesome question. So one of my first memories as a child was my mom told me that she went to school one day and they had to draw a picture of the sky or something. And she literally just, like, handed in I don't know, she said something. She had to do a project for school, and she asked the teacher why. And the teacher was like, la, 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 la. And then eventually she got to the point where it's like, well, why not? Right? And so that's always kind of been my, like, foundation for life. So the biggest traumatic event that I went through recently was my grandma passing away in September. She was living in Canada, but she flew herself to Portugal to her to Treseda, where she was born, and literally, unfortunately, never came home. So her, her body was still there and all that stuff. So that was hard for my family. We dealt with death that's the first elder that's died in my family since in the last 15 years. So it was huge for myself and my mom and my dad and my family. And so that was, I would say, the hardest thing. And the biggest question that kept coming up in my family was why. This woman, if you met her, oh my gosh, she was a firecracker. She went to the YMCA 3 times a week. She went swimming. She did yoga. She did strength training. She did it all. And so we always asked ourselves why. Why was her time? And you get to a point where you stop asking why and you just say, oh, that's why. Because it's like you just accept it. It's the cycle. There's like 5 cycles of grief, and one of them is called acceptance. And I feel like COVID gave me the opportunity to invite acceptance into that traumatic situation of death, because I think it's an innate human thing that we're all afraid of death. I was, and with all this stuff happening and my grandma passing and going through that really dark depression of my own, it's like, why? It's like, well, why not? She died. Why not? It could have been me. So it's like every day it's like, okay, I could die today. And if you honestly believe that and know it's true, it makes a huge difference.
Well said. And thank you for sharing. Yeah, I think that that's something that I try to be conscious of, is just having awareness of my own death, just like you just said. And that really helps me to live with purpose. Because as you said, and even your experience today with the dump truck, if any day you get hit by a car and that could be the end. And do we want to, if we are aware of that, it's not like we're living in fear of that, but it's an acceptance. That's what it is. As you said, it's an acceptance that anything could happen. And we need to accept the fact that anything could happen. And that gives us an opportunity to then live more mindfully and more intentionally. Because the way I see it is that if I were to die today, how would I want to be spending my life? Like, would I want to be doing it, drinking and doing drugs and stuff? Like, is that how I want to? No, probably not. Would I want to be like in my garden and with my loved ones? Yeah, probably. That's kind of how I'd like my last day to be, is just kind of doing the things I love and being with people that I love. And I think that that is something, especially with all the social distancing and the lack of social connection, has really made me aware of in myself, is who do I really want to be around? Who do I really want in my life? What type of people do I want to be around? And that's something I think that has been a blessing in disguise, is the fact that it's really opened my eyes to not only the people that mean the most to me, the people that are most accepting of me, the people that are open to having interesting conversations, and the ability to connect with people like you and other people in the Czech Institute and other like-minded people who are open to having these connections and sharing their experience. Because I think that it's easy to look at someone. I was just listening to Kevin Hart and Joe Rogan, and one of the things that they talk about is that Kevin Hart looks like he's a superhero, like he's successful at everything he does, but he really breaks down the fact that we're all human. We all have emotions, and he recently, like a few months ago, broke his spine, and he was like, I could have died. I should have died. But the doctor basically said because his core is so strong, it was able to protect him from yeah.
Sure.
So point being is that it's interesting to see the humanity in all these people and just what actually matters. And what he basically said was that it came down to his family and his loved ones. And he accepted the fact that, like, look, this put things out of perspective. So coming full circle with your experience with your grandmother and having experienced death in my own part with one of my grandparents, and recognizing all the death that's going on in the world, it's really an opportunity to accept ourselves for our own flaws, recognize that death can happen, and give us perspective to really cherish each and every moment. And it can be challenging. It's obviously easier said than done, by all means. It's not an easy task, but I appreciate you sharing this message, because there's definitely people out there that are having challenges that need to hear exactly what you said, and that it's going to be okay. Because as hard as it is, it's going to be okay.
It always is okay. Flowers always grow next year.
I like that. That's a good one. So Noelle, let's shift gears to what your goals are for the future. Because as you said, you've shifted online a little bit. What is your new, now it's the new year for you, because you said June 1st is your new year. So what is this new year going to look like for you? What is your plan? And how can people, because obviously there's going to be people listening to this that are enjoying everything you're saying, how can people work with you? How can they get in touch with you? And what are you planning to bring to the table for everyone?
So today is the launch of Portugal Wellness and All Wellness. So All Wellness stands for Adventure and Wellness Excursions, and they're going to be exclusively in the Azores. However, the Azores are closed for 5 years unless you're Portuguese. So no one's allowed in the Azores unless you're with a Portuguese person, like me. So I'm going to, we have a 10-bedroom house on the Azores in Terceira, and so I'm going to be running retreats from there.
Very nice.
Starting next year. Whenever I can get my plane ticket to the Azores, probably not coming back for a while. Until Christmas, where I got to visit my other grandma.
And what are these retreats going to look like?
Completely holistic lifestyle coaching. Nice. So we're going to have fun every day. We're going to eat some good food. We're going to get really good sleep. We're going to have some really good water. We're going to connect and play and touch and wrestle and hopefully play in the ocean. It's just a time to connect with. So I'm going to be focusing on women, like women only retreats. Of course, men are welcome because we need someone to drive the Jeeps around. So we have 4 of those at the house. And, but I already have my 4 drivers. So just one. And they have to travel with a Portuguese person or else they can't come to the Azores. So that's the point. So that's going to launch in the next 5 years. I'm also working on my PhD. My thesis is on eye health and mental illness.
Very cool. Well, I'll be looking forward to seeing more about that research and that thesis you're putting together. So, Noelle. Yeah, please do share. I'd love to hear it. And so, what final messages do you have for people listening? What is your, do you have a life motto? Do you have any final words that you always like to share with people? What is your words of wisdom you can leave with our listeners here?
I got one sentence. It's pretty corny, but I'm going to say it anyway. The sun will come out tomorrow. That's it.
I love it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom, your experience. Where can people find you? On your website, Instagram? What's the best places for people to reach out to you?
I'm really pushing Noelle Marie Wellness right now. So Facebook, Instagram. I'm using the Vigaro app, Vagaro. It's for appointments. It's like Instagram and Facebook, but it's just for appointments. So all my classes and my class schedules are in there. And everything, all my classes are free until July 1st. Everything's online. So the whole month, animal flow, yoga, Tai Chi, strength, everything, all the classes are free until July 1st. So check it out.
Awesome. Well, Noelle, thank you for being here. Thank you for shining your light. Have a beautiful day, and we will talk very soon.
You too, Rob. Have a great day. Thank you for having me. This has been awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Whole Health with Rob Carney podcast with our guest, Noelle Monteiro. So you can find Noelle at Noelle Marie Wellness on Instagram or Facebook. You can send her an email at noellemonteirocoaching@gmail.com, and you can book an appointment online at vigaro.com/Noelle Marie Wellness. And I'll put all these links in the description box there so you can easily find them, connect with her, because as you may have realized, she has a lot of love, a lot of passion, and a lot of experience in all things health, wellness, life in general. So would love for you to connect with Noelle, pick her brain, learn from her, all the wonderful messages that she's sharing. And so this podcast is fueled by our superfoods, Purium Health Products, and Mushroom Revival. So if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I love my superfoods. I was just camping last week and was so grateful to have these superfoods at my disposal. They pack up so nicely. There's all you do is mix them with water. You take a little water, put the powder in, mix it up, and now I've got some highly nutritionally dense foods even while I'm out camping, and they don't take up a lot of weight. Put them in a little baggie, or they come in their biodegradable pouches. So basically, that's an easy way to get nutrition on the go for all you busy people, all you people out there that say, oh, I don't have time to eat healthy, I travel a lot, whatever the excuse is for not eating healthy. This is an incredible solution to really make it easy to get highly nutrient dense foods into our body. So I would love for you to check those out. You can go to my website, wholehealthconnects.com, and go to the Superfoods Nutrition section. Go to the link in my bio on Instagram, or go to ishoppurium.com and use the code WHOLEHEALTH to save $50 or 25% off on your first order. Whatever the greater savings is, you'll get that $50 or 25% off. And same thing with Mushroom Revival. You go there, use the code WHOLEHEALTH, and you'll save 15% on your every order. So as I said, we'd love for you to check those out. We'd love to hear how you're feeling after you take them for a couple weeks, because I noticed it took about 2 weeks or so before I really started feeling the difference, feeling my energy improve, feeling the fact that I had clearer skin, feeling more energized, better workouts, better recovery, you name it, more mental clarity. So again, check those out, wholehealthconnects.com/superfoodnutrition. You'll find those there. And if anyone at this time is looking for a business opportunity, there is opportunity in the superfoods business. I've been growing my team, really supporting my team, and have been so fortunate to be blessed with the opportunity to work with this team in the superfood business. So that's something that you're interested in. I would love to chat more about that. It's a great time to work online, make some residual income from home, supporting organic nutrition with a company that is going plastic free by 2021. So if you're interested in anything along those lines, feel free to shoot me a message on my Instagram at wholehealthconnections, or by email, wholehealthconnections@gmail.com. So thank you so much again for listening. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate you listening this far, listening to Noelle's story, listening to my message that I'm putting out here. We'd love to connect. Please connect on Instagram, Facebook, whatever's convenient for you. Thank you again for listening, and we'll talk soon.